How's it going, everybody? Bryan Alvarez here on Wrestling Observer Live. We are here every day, Monday through Friday, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, Sunday, 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern. Well, it is Friday here on this show. It's been a long week, friends. But it is Friday here on the show, and we got a lot to talk about here today. Thankfully, we don't got to talk a lot about the Raw show, Elimination Chamber, Montreal, because, in fact, we got another thing everybody can get angry about today, and that is the Observer Awards are out. We got the full listing of the Observer Awards. What was the promotion of the year, the wrestler of the year, the promoter of the year, the worst show of the year? We can talk about the top categories here today. New issue of the Observer is out on the front page, WrestlingObserver.com. If you want to read the entire issue and not only see who won all of the awards, but you can go back in history and see the winners of every award in every category dating back to the inception of the awards. That is up on the front page right now, so head up there and check that out. We've also got, of course, the SmackDown show tonight. This is the SmackDown follow-up to the Elimination Chamber show. We got the ratings for Dynamite on Wednesday. With no NBA competition, the show broke 1 million viewers, that magical 1 million viewer mark that everybody always freaks out about. Well, it went over 1 million this week, and we'll tell you about the show and the quarter hours. Got some quarter hour notes from Raw as well. We've got the NXT numbers, Mercedes Moné and her future in New Japan Stardom. We've also got WWE announcing, well, I guess they haven't really announced it yet, but it looks like they're going to be running 2 pay-per-views coming up in May. One of them is a King and Queen of the Ring. We'll tell you about that, the update on Jeff Hardy and his DUI case. He has been prohibited, his license suspended for the next decade. So a lot to get into here today. If you want to text us, 425-780-7566. That is 425-780-7566. Back in a moment with more Observer Live.
I will, congratulate Cody on going through what he did for all of us, for this industry, for himself. I know what that's like. I've been in that spot, unfortunately, a few different times, and I can admire what goes into it. And for him to be able to turn that around and come back tonight and do what he did is amazing in and of itself. So congratulations to him, punching his ticket, like he said, something that no one else in this family has been able to do, but punching that ticket to the main event at WrestleMania, having that moment to be out there, stand in front of that, incredible crowd, and do what everybody dreams of, because I believe that the people that make fun of it are the people that believe that they'll never get the chance to do it. And that is point to that sign that says you are going to WrestleMania in the main event. That's an amazing accomplishment after such an incredible setback. And for what Cody said here, I can't help it, but when I look at him, I do see his dad. I look in his eyes and I see his dad's eyes. I see Dusty, but I see all the best things of Dusty, and then I see something more in Cody. So it's not about comparing him. I just see the greatness of his dad amplified in his dad's son, and that's something special. He's a special talent, a special human being, and I'm very proud of him for that. So
I'm sure he heard that, and I've watched everything that Roman's done. I have nothing though but respect, and I mean the scene there at the end of the night is a pretty rough scene, but I have nothing but respect and reverence for Roman. You guys cover this industry, you cover sports entertainment, you cover pro wrestling. Guys, I can't tell you I'm the best wrestler in the world. Nobody can, unless their name is Roman Reigns. That's the best wrestler in the world. I'd like to think I'm number 2, right? And I always say, so that's number 3, whatever. This is making lists is a disaster. Don't take my list that serious. But Roman is undisputed. That's just the best way to put it. He's undisputed, and, you know, if that is the situation we're walking into in 60-something days of WrestleMania, I can't shrivel under the lights. He's been there before. I haven't. And that's going to take it's going to take everything I could possibly ever muster up and everything I have. But got to finish the story.
Is this going to be the new gimmick every day?
Well,
People demanding I take calls. God, everyone complains about calls for months and months, and now all of a sudden the gimmick is, oh, you must take calls here today. What's the emergency? What's the emergency? Post it right there. I want to see what the emergency is that you must call about here today. I can't take calls in Hawaii. How many times do I have to explain this to everybody? We got important things to talk about anyway, including the follow-up to Elimination Chamber, the SmackDown version. We have got Charlotte Flair going face-to-face with her WrestleMania 39 challenger, Rhea Ripley. We have got the return of Bray Wyatt's Firefly Funhouse. I guess Bobby Lashley is going into the Funhouse. Do you remember that John Cena thing at WrestleMania?
Yes. That
I thought was so stupid and you liked, and it was like one of those things where you either liked it or you hated it. Listen,
yes.
I hated it, but I demand Brock Lesnar enters this Firefly Funhouse.
Yeah.
I need to see this. As much as I need to see Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar versus Bray Wyatt and Uncle Howdy, I don't think I'm getting either of them.
Look.
I don't know what I did to deserve this. What, question the Montreal finish? I have to be punished now?
I don't know what Bobby Lashley did to deserve this, but he's getting Bray Wyatt. But yeah, I'm much like you. I'd like to see Brock Lesnar walk through that portal, and then all of a sudden there's Shelton Benjamin in the corner, and Brock looks down and he's got his Minnesota stretching crew outfit on, and all of a sudden it's like OVW world, and it takes him back to there. And can you imagine the hilarity that could ensue? And that would be much better than what they're doing with both Brock and Omos, and whatever they do with Bobby Lashley and Bray Wyatt, because it doesn't seem like it's a good fit. But who am I, right?
Yeah, who are you? I heard that last week, actually. Rey Mysterio will be facing Karrion Kross. I feel like I've seen that one before. And then we've got Imperium against Braun Strowman, Ricochet, and Madcap Moss. So a couple of notes. Dominic has vowed to be at SmackDown. So I think we can all figure out what's going to be happening in this Rey Mysterio versus Karrion Kross match. And also, you know, if you guys... Normally I ignore this stuff, but I actually saw it for once. I don't even know how. But they did a gimmick on social media, which you're going to find hard to believe, everybody. But Madcap Moss and Emma are teasing a heel turn. Why? Well, because Madcap was unable to beat Gunther because of the fans. The fans were too noisy during that match or something. And so because of the fans, it appears that Madcap Moss and Emma are turning heel.
This is stupid.
Wow.
This is stupid in every way. You just, look, all you have to do is give Moss his first name back and stop being Madcap. And all of a sudden you have a guy who's legitimate. You know, he can talk. He's got a good body. He's been there forever. Like, can we give this guy a chance to actually break out and do something without saddling him with more nonsense? Unless this is going to dovetail with Braun Breaker, since apparently they don't want the fans to like him either.
So then we have Wednesday's Dynamite number, which I will admit caught me off guard. The show did 1.03 million viewers, which was up 25% from a week ago. It is the largest total audience for the show since October 5. The 18 to 49 demo was a .35, which was up 30% from last week. And it was the best rating in that demo since September 14 of last year. Ratings were up in every single demo except women 18 to 49, where they were even. Males 12 to 34 up 52.4%. And as compared to last week, they were up 1% in overall viewers, down 12% in 18 to 40. And they have lost a lot of 18 to 49 viewers year over year. But if you're wondering why, and when this number first came out, I was wondering why. Well, it was not Evil Uno, I'm sorry to say. And it was not Tony Khan's big announcement, I am sorry to say. And it was not the Battle Royal, I'm sorry to say. What it was the lack of NBA competition for the first time in a long time. And if you look at the quarters, the show just opened well. It opened over 1 million, and it largely stayed over 1 million until, coincidentally, that Battle Royal. And they started losing viewers during the Battle Royal. They bottomed out in the typical death spot. They went up a little bit for the Moxley-Evil Uno match. And that's the story. I mean, people just tuned in larger numbers at the beginning, and they watched 75 minutes of the show, and then they had largely, I guess, had enough, and they started losing viewers at that point. And it's actually kind of, when you look at the Raw number for Monday, Raw averaged 2 million. And what happened was they had a very strong first hour, and the viewers stayed strong through the second hour, and then they fell off a cliff in that third hour. And, you know, we've mentioned a million times, the show's too long. I mean, people tuned in. They wanted to see what happened after the Elimination Chamber, and they liked what they saw. But after about 2 hours, it's like, we've seen 2 hours. Main event was Edge versus Austin Theory. I know if you don't like Edge, you're going to place the blame all on Edge. And I don't think that you can blame Edge for this. And I really don't even think you can blame Austin Theory. What you can say is, people saw that the main event was Austin Theory versus Edge for the U.S. title. They did not believe that Edge was going to win the title, and he didn't. And they decided, I've seen my 2 hours, I'm going to go do something else. But for those of you tracking, and it's way too early, the opening half hour where they had Sami Zayn all over the show, that was the highest rated thing on the show. The show went down a little bit afterwards, and then it did go up again for Cody, and then it dipped again. So, you know, Sami and Cody are the two biggest movers. And if you have to, you know, break it down, Sami did do better than Cody on this show. Barely. It was largely even, but Sami did do better in the... but, of course, it was the opening of the show. People tuned in after the pay-per-view. They want to find out what happened. So that's the Raw story. And the only other number quickly is NXT, 589,000. Second highest audience since January 24. I guess that's in the last 4 weeks. 16th on the cable charts, .14 at 18 to 49. And it was a fine show. But Raw was number 1, 2, and 3 on cable. And Dynamite was number 1 on cable. So wrestling is doing very well right now. If you are one of the two big shows on cable, Raw and Dynamite. And I'm sure SmackDown tonight is probably going to do another 2.3 million viewers. So those are your numbers.
You're not impressed by the 23,000 people who came back for the overrun of NXT to see Jinder, obviously, the big boost to that show at the end?
I was not that impressed. I mean, there's probably 23,000 people that were waiting for the next show. I mean, listen, everybody, don't pull this Jinder got hindered thing, okay? Like, God bless the guy. I have nothing against him. But like I said last night on the Bryan and Vinny show, if you took somebody who has never watched pro wrestling and you showed them Braun Breaker versus Jinder, and you said, one of these men has been wrestling for a long time, and he is a former world champion, and the other guy has been wrestling for a year and a half, and he's in developmental, okay? 99% of the people are going to guess that Braun Breaker is the guy guy who has been wrestling a long time and is a former champion, and the other guy is the guy who's been in developmental for a year and a half. It was not an impressive showing. It was the worst Braun Breaker title match we've seen. I mean, there's one thing here, and it ain't Braun Breaker, friends.
But you know what?
What do you want me to
Braun
do about
Breaker's got to get used to that when he does become a star on the main roster, and then he's got to face off against a lot more guys like Jinder than guys like Kevin Owens.
God, I hope not if he's in the title picture.
I'd like to hope not either, but you know what? Big guys, they like him.
Back in a moment, Observer Live.
All right, so here we go. Question number 1. What is something outside of wrestling that you are a big fan of?
Soccer. I love watching. I've been watching soccer. Well, I started soccer when I was 3, so I was like 15, 16. And that's also like my mom, she made sure that I grew up with women's soccer. So like women leaders, women like motivational people and stuff like that. So I watch soccer a lot.
Question number 2. What is something besides wrestling that you're really good at?
Maybe like being on my phone. I'm really good at that. Sleeping. I can sleep in most places. Okay.
Question number 3. What is your favorite TV show or movie?
Ooh, movie The Last Song, and then it's old but a good one. Yeah. And show right now I'm really into Dynasty. It's like a reboot. Have you seen it?
I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it. But I did watch The Last Song. Cried my eyes out to it.
Yes, me too. Yeah, so Dynasty is definitely one of those.
Awesome. And question number 4. Who are your favorite singers or bands?
Rebelde. Do you watch?
Oh my gosh, they were so popular back in the day, and I heard they're making a comeback.
I'm going to every single concert in Texas, by the way. Yes, I'm so excited. I need to get my uniform ready.
Question number 5. Favorite places that you have traveled to and places you want to travel to?
Ooh, I love Cali. And I'm not just saying that because I'm here. Like, I really do love Cali. There's, like, a lot to do here.
Right. Question number 6. Who is your biggest inspiration?
Oh, I feel like there's, like, multiple people. There's not, like, just one person. But I know growing up, like, Alex Morgan, she's, like, a soccer player. She was, like, one of my inspirations. Trish Stratus is, like, the reason I got into wrestling. When I was, like, 5 years old. Like, that's who I would watch all the time. And the Four Horsewomen, of course, AJ Lee, you know, those are definitely like my top ones.
Number 7, what's the craziest thing that you've ever done?
I feel like wrestling's pretty crazy, honestly.
Question number 8, favorite Mexican candy?
Mazapanes, I'm like obsessed with those, but the ones that are like covered in chocolate.
Ooh,
yeah.
Favorite Mexican dish?
So hard.
No.
I'm gonna go with chilaquiles. Have you tried them?
Girl, are you kidding me? Chilaquiles are my life. When you said mazapanes, I was like, yep, she knows what's up. Then you said chilaquiles, and I'm like, I get them everywhere with beans and eggs.
Yes. Oh my God, it's so good. And sometimes I add chicken in there too.
Yes. Oh my God.
Okay, now I'm hungry. Now I'm hungry.
Question number 10, last one. What makes you happiest?
When others are happy.
Nice.
Yeah. I know that's so cheesy, but when others are happy, I'm just like, it just brings like this emotion in me. And it's ever since I was younger too, like in Christmas, I didn't care what I got. Like as long as like people around me were happy with what they got, that's just what mattered to me.
Well, I haven't heard what was so important in terms of calls. I tried. Sorry, everybody. All right. Mercedes Moné only committed to 2 more dates with New Japan and Stardom. This coming off her just winning the IWGP Women's title. She's only committed to 2 more dates. April 8th at Sumo Hall for New Japan on the Sakura Genesis show where she'll defend against Azumi, who is an excellent worker, Dave adds. And a rematch with Kairi at one point was planned, but they changed that. And then the other one is April 23rd, Yokohama Arena, Mayu Iwatani, probably a title match, it says here, I guess unless she loses to Azumi. Part of a double main event, which will likely be a World of Stardom championship match with Julia against Tam Nakano. So I guess we'll see what happens after that. I mean, She either signs or she's got to drop that title, right? We're not going to do this again, are we? We're going to do this again?
I would hope we don't do this again. Would make too much sense to lose it to Mayu Iwatani too. You know, you can easily build a storyline around that. So, you know, we know the matches are going to be good. We just had one with Kairi. When you look at Azumi and when you look at Mayu, you figure, okay, unless the bottom falls out, she's going to have 2 really good matches with them too. And then if she drops the belt and goes away and just goes on a barnstorming tour, cool. Now, I'm not sure if that has helped New Japan and Stardom overall, but we're going to have to see. But when it comes to the match quality, you know, I'm getting my money's worth because, you know, I only paid a pay-per-view cost to watch her. So whether New Japan and Stardom do or not, that's to be determined yet.
We've got WWE running 2 pay-per-views in May, according to Brandon Thurston. They have Backlash scheduled for May 6th and King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring on May 27th, which sounds to me like we would do the tournaments on television and then the finals or maybe the semifinals and finals for both of those would be on the pay-per-view, because I don't think you can run 2 tournaments on one pay-per-view unless you want to have a bunch of short, nothing happening matches. So the schedule at this point looks to be WrestleMania Night 1, April 1st, WrestleMania Night 2, April 2nd, Backlash May 6th, King and Queen of the Ring May 27, Money in the Bank July 1st, and SummerSlam is August 5th. So that is the lineup.
Plan your calendars accordingly.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm going to 2 of those at least. WrestleMania Night 1 and 2. But that's it at the moment.
Oh, at the moment.
We have the Florida DUI case involving Jeff Hardy dating back to June 2022, closed on Thursday. He submitted a written plea of nolo contendere to all charges. It is where a defendant agrees, that's my Latin, it's where a defendant agrees to accept punishment, but does not accept or deny responsibility. Does not accept or deny responsibility.
Yes.
For that in which they were charged. Seems like there's only 2 options there.
No, that's not how this works. In the legal system, you have a couple ways, a couple times where it's not a admission of guilt, it's not anything, it's nolo contendere.
Well, according to the Volusia County court records, here's the full sentence.
So in abeyance. There you go. There's another one there.
He has a 30-day county jail sentence with 30 days credit for time served, 2 years probation, $4,586 in fines and court fees, 10-year suspension of his license. A 10-year suspension of his license. You know, at this point, you may as well just suspended that license for the rest of his life. I mean, let's be honest here. 2 years with an interlock device and 90-day vehicle impoundment.
Was he 2
I mean, if he
years
can't
with an
drive,
device
should it be 10-year with an interlock device?
Yeah, but never.
Should
with
it be
an
no
interlock device.
vehicle?
Yes. Is that for the lawnmower? Because that counts. If you've ever seen any of those cop shows, you'd know if you saw a guy with a John Deere driving down the road, you can be picked up for a DUI if he's drunk on a bike, anything. So, I mean, I don't know. That's just completely ridiculous. I don't even know what that means.
It does make no sense here that he would have to have an interlock for 2 years, but can't drive for 10 years. And his vehicle is only impounded for 90 days. So he just has the vehicle that he can just look at every day? Man, there's my vehicle I can look at. I can't get in it. I can't go anywhere.
To be fair, though, that's his property, and it actually has a value where... Yay, if you think about it, he can't drive for 10 years. He should be able to go ahead and sell it. So maybe he can go ahead and
I mean, if that's the case, just give him the damn car back and let him sell it. I mean, what? His punishment is you can't sell the car for 90 days?
I know.
I don't know. The whole thing's weird. Court-mandated DUI school or drug rehab program, community service. So he blew a...
Florida.
The legal limit in Florida is .08. He blew a .294, and this wasn't the first time. So I just think,
not only that,
get rid of this whole car thing.
What time of morning?
I don't remember.
Because, like, I know, and it doesn't matter what time of day it was, because at any point it's completely ridiculous, stupid, dangerous, all of that stuff. But it was also rush hour in the morning with school buses on the road that he was like that. He had no idea where he was. None.
You know, on a
Look
it's
at
a
you in
related
camp
note.
counselor position, like you're gonna like
Dude,
break something down.
I'm
for
on
us. Like
vacation,
cool
brother.
Camp counselor Bryan.
I went to the QFC by my house a few days ago, and I'm really lounging for this story. And they have a Starbucks in there, so I was going to get a cake pop for my child. And listen, Bothell is a small town, but it ain't that small, okay? So I go to this QFC, and I'm trying to order my food. And, you know, I don't know what it is about Starbucks, but it's like they got one person working there, and that person also has to make everyone's coffee, which is always like a really complicated order. And so you're just sitting there waiting and waiting. And I'm like, God. And then they have two people working there. These two girls are working there. And like, they're both making a coffee together. I'm like, why can't one of you take an order and the other one make the coffee? Like, what's going on here? So I'm just waiting forever. And finally they get done with the coffee. And I'm ready to order this cake pop for my child. But now they're talking. They're ignoring me. They're talking. And they're looking out because it's in the QFC, so you can like look out the window and you can see the parking lot and everything. And they're whispering about this guy. They're like, oh man, he's leaving. And I'm like, what's going on here? Is this like am I in the middle of some, you know, romance show? There's a camera behind me or something. Who are they swooning over in the parking lot? So I look out and see who they're talking about. And they're actually not swooning. What they're in awe of, and at this point I forgave them for not paying attention to me and taking my order. There's a guy who decided that he was going to go get his groceries in a John Deere tractor. He has taken his tractor to the grocery store. Now, maybe some of you that live in a rural area, this is not like anything that you would find out of the ordinary, but let me tell you something. In Bothell, I don't even know where he would have had a John Deere tractor. He has taken his John Deere tractor to the store. He has literally found a way to park in a stall. He has gone in to get his groceries, and then he's gone out and he's driving his John Deere tractor away. I was like, what is going on here? What is happening?
Dude thinks he's trying to skirt something.
Do you need a license for that?
Well, that's what he's probably trying to get around, going, well, I just got it taken away, but I still need to get up here, so that's what he's doing. But yeah, I bet you it's either that or was on mushrooms or dust or something like that and just figure, all right, I'm driving to the store. You know, I don't know.
Some of you don't get it. I understand that in some places it is not unusual to drive your John Deere tractor to the grocery store. The difference is this doesn't happen in Bothell. There isn't even anywhere for him to use his John Deere tractor. There is no farmland. There is no, like, what was he even doing with this thing? What was he doing with a John Deere tractor in Bothell? Golly.
I think the craziest part of the whole story, though, was when, like, everybody just finally stopped looking slack-jawed out the window at that guy and turned around, and there was the boss of the entire place, Kiana James, telling everyone to get back to work and stop gawking.
Dude, I wish Kiana James would be there telling people to get back to work. Give me my cake pop, dude. Don't want no goofy drink. Anyway. Let's do a couple of text messages here. I don't get anything. I don't get anything. I got a cake pop for my child. I don't drink
Never
coffee.
Tea, anything from there? Nothing?
Now listen. Oh, you want me to go on a rant about Starbucks and how every time they have something that's good to eat, it's only there for like 6 months and they discontinue it? I don't even want to get into that.
The Michigan cherry coffee cake. I know what you're talking about. I know.
Brian, since you're in Hawaii, maybe you could meet up with that guy with the grades who had band. Yeah, well, I don't think he's on this island. So,
and if he is, change islands.
One important part of the King of the Ring, Queen of the Ring is that it's taking place on Double or Nothing weekend. I take it Tony Khan isn't too happy about that one. Well, I'm sure, he'll be upset about that, but Not the
I'm
first
sure
time
we'll
that
hear
we've
about
had a doubling up on pay-per-views and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
This person here says, if WWE had been so steadfast with not changing storylines in 1996, Hunter would have won the King of the Ring, and we may not have ever gotten the Austin 316 promo. That's true, but I rewatched all of Monday Night Raw through 96 and 97, and that Austin 316 promo, like, you know, it was a memorable thing and everything like that, but he was not Stone Cold Steve Austin the next day. It was months before he started getting over. It was the feud with Bret Hart that started getting him over. He would have been in the same place with or without Austin 316 said, I just whipped your ass. Back in a moment, Observer Live.
Tell us about the atmosphere and what it's like.
It's amazing. It's another company like full of women who are so supportive of each other. The locker room's great as well. I was brought in by AJ, who like growing up, like she was one of those people that looked like me, you know, like Hispanic. She was like smaller than the rest of the girls, so that was like very motivational. So for her to like bring me in a wow, and she's like my mother there. She gives like the best advice, and like I can always like message her and be like, hey, like what did you think about this match? Like, how did I do? And she's amazing. When they say like never meet your idols because you know you might be disappointed, with her it was like the opposite. Like she was so nice, and all the girls are amazing too. I think now that they have this contract with like CBS, it's like bigger and it's better. I feel like these seasons are like the best ones yet, so I'm excited for like everyone to watch it. I want to say the biggest advice she's given me, and I think this is just like in life in general, like the energy you put out is the energy you will receive. So always like be nice to others, and like I think that's just what I apply in everything. So that's kind of what I learned from her. It helped out a lot, especially because I was so new and I didn't really know how to work cameras or how TV worked, and to be in that environment and also learn from, like, they have so many legends back there that you can like ask, and they're so helpful. Shout out to Jerry Lynn, Dustin Rhodes, like those two like are incredible. They're so helpful with the talents, and I am so grateful that I've met them. But yeah, so being able to learn from them, and also like learning from like your mistakes, like watching yourself back and how you can like improve like on TV and stuff like that, it honestly helped me out a lot, especially my career too, because I feel like I got a lot of bookings from that. So shout out to AEW Dark. Ooh, I would love to say Serena Deeb. She's so knowledgeable. She's so good in the ring. And even I had a one-on-one with her outside of AEW, and she's amazing. It was like a clinic, literally, like learning from her. Like being in the ring from her was like a clinic, honestly.
Yes.
I didn't get to tell Becky this, but I wrote her like a DM like before I started training. It's like a long DM, like how like she inspired me and everything. And at the end, I was like, one day I will wrestle for WWE. So after my match with Tamina, she came up to me and hugged me and was like, "That you did really good." And I cried, like I bawled, and she's like, "Yeah, let it out." Like she was so nice, and I just could not talk, honestly. I was like so like overwhelmed with the match itself, and then like her coming up to me, and like the girls were so nice, like Nikki Cross, like Bianca, like everyone was so nice. So I'm so grateful for that opportunity, honestly. Like that is probably like the best moment of my career, because that's what I've been wanting to do since I was 5, and the fact that I got to do that, it was incredible.
Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also WrestlingObserver.com.
right?
This technology, God, I can't get anything working here. You know what? You realize I'm doing everything by myself here, even though I'm in Hawaii. I got to start this recording, then I got to get back to this screen, then I got to... you guys...
You know, it was hilarious during the break, everybody.
You guys don't even know.
He sat back and he sat right on him, and he jumped up. You know, hopefully that's in the outtakes somewhere. It was hilarious. Too bad you couldn't see it, though.
No, I'm a professional. Observer Awards. Let's look at the top award winners, point getters Wrestler of the Year, Jon Moxley. He won with 3,101 votes, 498 first-place votes, beating out Roman Reigns at 232 and 22-16. I did not vote in the Observer Awards this year, but I would have voted for Jon Moxley. I agree with this pick. I realize that Roman Reigns was the champion of the biggest wrestling organization in the world, and I realize that this Roman Reigns deal with Sami Zayn and Cody is hot right now, but for the vast majority of the year, it wasn't. And, you know, the Roman Reigns Sami thing and the bloodline and everything, that really started to pick up in the latter half of the year, the last few months, and then it really picked up in the first few months of 2023. These are not the 2023 awards. These are the 2022 awards. And for most of the year, I mean, Roman was there, and he was beating this guy, and he was beating that guy, and we were wondering who's going to beat Roman Reigns. It's time. So Jon Moxley, on the other hand, he had a great reign through the first half of the year. Then he dropped the title to Punk, and then everything went to hell. Punk got injured. We had the brawl, everything like that. And so they needed somebody, and they chose him. And instead of getting the Summer of Punk, we got the Summer of Moxley, which was awesome. And, you know, this guy was the heart of AEW for the majority of 2022. Dude never got his vacation that he was promised. He had to come back and save the show. And, you know, I don't know. I think most people would argue that the show has never quite returned to the level that it was when he was the champion. So Moxley gets my vote as the Wrestler of the Year.
Yeah, he does to me as well, too. And it's not Roman Reigns' fault. I mean, Roman Reigns, the thing he's got working for him is the fact that he works for the largest professional wrestling company out there. For Moxley, to me, it's because he went out for GCW and had good matches with Homicide. He had them with Effie and AJ Gray, defended that title, then ultimately ended up losing it to Nick Gage. He was out there. He had the matches with New Japan when they were tied up. So you take that into play with what he did with his AEW stuff. And yeah, I actually think that it fits. He's far more valuable in some ways to AEW right now than Roman Reigns in some ways, again, or is to WWE. You can change those metrics to move him however you want, but I have no problem at all with Jon Moxley winning this award.
Hey, your mic, Mike, sounds horrible according to the chat. So disconnect and reconnect, and I'll move on here to the most outstanding wrestler who ran away with it. Will Ospreay, 951 first place votes, 4,807 total votes, and Bryan Danielson was number 2 with 92 votes. So Ospreay won with 10 times the number of first place votes, and basically 5 times the number of total votes. So I don't think anyone's really going to argue Will Ospreay is most outstanding. Perhaps you will, but you will certainly be in the minority here. Mike is not back yet.
I wouldn't argue it, Brian. How's the mic sound?
Okay, that sounds a lot better. Well, in another one, I don't think anyone's going to argue, Tag Team of the Year, FTR, 782 first place votes, which was not quite 20 times the first place votes, which were the Briscoes, but 3,859 first place total votes, 782 first place, beating out the Briscoes, Young Bucks, Usos, the Acclaimed, Aussie Open, and others. I could not argue FTR as the obvious choice for Tag Team of the Year.
No argument.
Let's see. Best on interviews. We have got in first place, 2,984 total votes, 486 first place, MJF. Beating out second place, Jon Moxley, 152 first place and 1,500 second place total votes. So it was closer than the other ones. I mean, MJF did not beat second place by 15 times, like we had in the tag team voting. But clear winner, MJF over Moxley, CM Punk, Sami Zayn, and Eddie Kingston.
Yeah, tough to argue that, even if I, wasn't not a big fan of his promo on Wednesday night. It doesn't matter. I mean, he is consistently going out there and he's fantastic. Now, if he doesn't suit you and Eddie Kingston does or something like that, I guess, everything is subjective here. But MJF by far is the most consistent and gets the most out of his promos usually.
And then we had the promotion of the year. Now, promotion of the year was won by AEW with 480 first place votes, 3,270 second place votes. That does not surprise me. However, a very close number 2, Stardom, was number 2 with 273 total votes. So AEW did not even double second place. 2,232 total votes, which was within 1,000. And then WWE with 1,800 votes. New Japan with 1,799. And UFC in 5th place. So an excellent, excellent showing for Stardom, coming in second only to AEW and beating WWE. Although, one of the things I got to say about this voting is that, in the old days, the cutoff was like December, and the Observer Awards would come out in early January. Now the Observer Awards are coming out at the end of February, which is like smack dab in the middle of, WrestleMania season. And WWE, if you look through these, a lot of people are really upset about the placement of WWE in these votes. Like, WWE was 3rd for promotion of the year, and they in a lot of the worst like show and stuff like that, they got a lot of votes. Here's the thing, everybody: we're looking at WWE right now when it is really hot. That's 2023. Okay. WWE was not super hot for most of 2022. For most of 2022, through like August, it was still being booked by Vince. The shows were still horrible, much worse than they are now. There was no Bloodline, Sami Zayn, the return of Cody. All of that is going to go into the voting for the year 2023. Stardom, listen, I didn't watch every Stardom show, but I watched, a lot of the top matches. Me and Tom watched it fairly regularly for the Monday show, and it was miles better in 2022 than WWE was. A lot of people are really down on AEW right now. That right now is 2023. For most of 2022, AEW still felt like a really hot promotion with hot storylines and big matches. So keep that in mind when you get angry about some of these awards here.
Plus, also remember that these are the hardest of the hardcore fans that are voting on this. They are the ones that are subscribing to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, or at least know enough about it to send in stuff. And if you look at the first place votes for, like, promotion of the year, it's like if you total them up, it's 808. You know what I'm saying? So it's like these are the hardest of the hardcores. Stardom finishing that high is going to piss people off because they finished that high, but it's also going to piss people off because people think it finished too low. Because it is easy to argue, if you're a consistent watcher of the product, that Stardom was the promotion of the year, but people also have to remember this is also not reflective upon everybody. It's just about 800 to 1,000 people who have their opinions on what they liked from last year.
Well, I mean, it's way more than that. Lists. I mean, first place vote for best weekly TV show is 4,000. You're looking at probably about 6,000 people who voted in these
There
awards.
you go. Whatever it is, again, however many people are here, it's still a small, when you look at it, it's a small percentage. And for people to bend themselves into pretzels and being upset over this is just crazy to me, but that's sometimes what people do.
Well,
What can you do, boss? What can you do?
What upsets me, if I got to complain about an award, is best weekly television show. NXT was below Raw. I mean, come on, get out of here.
Well, 2.0.
Listen, NXT certainly should not have won. I mean, it absolutely should not have won or even been close.
2.0.
NXT was better than Raw.
You
Raw under Vince was an atrocious show. I hated watching it. I dreaded watching it. It was the worst thing that I watched every single week, and NXT was undoubtedly a better show than Raw in 2022.
It was not 3 hours, so it always has that going for it.
And by the way, NXT got 15 first-place votes for best show.
Yeah, because
but the best show was Dynamite. 4,000 total votes, 753 first place votes. SmackDown, second place, 104 first place votes, and 1,800 total votes. So, Dynamite won by a very, very sizable margin. And I do believe that in 2022 overall, the best show of the year was AEW Dynamite. I think that a lot of people would not say that right now, but certainly throughout the majority of 2022, I think that's a fair winner. We had best match of the year, Okada and Ospreay in the G1, 2,000 votes. FTR and the Briscoes. This was the Arlington, Texas match, 1,800. They also got the fourth place for the Garland, Texas match, and that's it. They did not place for the other match. But, those were and the third match, Okada and Ospreay at the Tokyo Dome show. So, a lot of great matches over the year.
I tell you what, a couple more first-place votes for one of those Briscoes matches as opposed to the other, and that may have put him over the top when it came to total votes and everything, total points and all that
They
stuff.
were 12 first-place votes away from beating Okada and Ospreay.
Yeah, they got 244 for the match in Arlington in December. The match WrestleMania weekend in Garland, Texas had 98 first-place votes, so 2 of the 4 finished in the top 4.
Then we had all of the local MVPs, U.S. and Canada. John Moxley ran away with it. Japan, Okada, who beat Ospreay by 80 votes, around 80 votes, 495 to 422. Mexico MVP, El Hijo del Vikingo. Europe MVP was Will Ospreay, which I guess. I would think people I guess people in Europe voted. And then we'll do a couple more after the break. Observer Live.
I mean, I've been a fan of boxing for a long time. Never did I ever think about boxing personally, but I was at Creator Clash 1. Nathan Barnett, a.k.a. Dad, was the first fight of Creator Clash 1, and he asked me to be in his corner. And at the time, I didn't realize how big the event was going to be, but I was excited to watch him fight in his first fight. And when I went and saw how well he did and how excited everyone was, all the influencers that fought on Creator Clash 1 had a really good time, and the crowd had a great time. And when iDubbbz, Ian, and Anissa were booking Creator Clash 2, putting it together, I think they were looking for someone to fight Harley from Epic Mealtime, who won his first fight in Creator Clash 1. And since we'd met, they just asked me if I'd be willing to fight. And I said, yeah. I actually said, yeah, but I don't want to fight Harley because we're friends. And then he said he would fight me. And then I was like, well, if he wants to fight me, then sure, I guess we can fight.
You can't back down now. If he said yes, you kind of got to say yes too, right?
He said, I was like, bro, I don't know if we should fight each other. And then he's like, might be too epic, bro. And I was like, what? The Epic Mealtime just texted me epic? Okay. So that's kind of how it all came together. And now April 15th, in about 2 months, we're going to punch each other until one of us can't stand up.
Do you feel you have added pressure where you can't lose?
Yeah. I mean, there's that, but then there's also my wife who said, if I lose, expect to get knocked out twice on April 15th because she's going to knock me out for losing.
Stop it. That's amazing and terrifying at the same time.
Joking, but not.
Okay, so how are you? Are you nervous? Are you excited? Are you anxious? What are the emotions?
Do all those things. It's like similar to a wrestling match. But I haven't had 4,000 boxing fights like I have wrestling matches. This is going to be the first time that I've boxed. I training with Josh Barnett, who's obviously a former UFC champion, MMA legend. And when I asked him to train me, he just said, "Sure, John, I'll train you, but just so you know, boxing is your worst thing." And I was like, well, he's not wrong. I was like, yeah, Josh, I know it's my worst thing. That's why I need you to train me. And I've gotten a lot better. I still have a long way to go, but it's been really fun, not just learning a new skill, but like being kind of under the gun and like being forced to learn. And I forced myself by putting pressure on myself by taking this fight, which I feel like is kind of a fun thing to have, like this crazy like goal and is this date hanging over my head, which makes me extra motivated to train every day.
Back here for the final segment of the show. Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. A couple final categories here. Best box office draw, which to this day, I still don't know why this is a category you vote on. Roman Reigns won. Well, was he or not? What are we voting for? I don't get it.
I know.
Feud of the year, FTR versus the Briscoes. Edged out CM Punk and MJF by less than 20 votes. So very, very close there. Nothing else came close. Most improved, which honestly I had not thought about. But if you look at what people thought when they got the tag team title match at All Out, and then like how people viewed them the rest of the year, the Acclaimed. I mean, night and day from what people thought about them before and after they won those titles. So I don't have a problem with that at all.
Shirakawa, though, look at those Stardom people out there pushing.
Well, she got close. She was within 5 votes.
And she improved dramatically. She did indeed.
MJF, most charismatic, beating out Sami Zayn by almost double, maybe double. Yeah. Do I look like a mathematician? Bryan Danielson,
Roman.
He somehow won his own award. What?
Again?
Even Stokely Hathaway called shenanigans on that one. Maybe Stokely thought he should have won that award. I don't know. And then the Best Brawler Award, Jon Moxley won that award. Ran away with it. Yeah, even though he'd probably be upset he didn't get any votes for Best Technical Wrestler. Best Flying Wrestler, Elio del Vikingo. Most Overrated, Ronda Rousey. Most Underrated, Takeshita. And your Rookie of the Year, your future WrestleMania main eventer is Braun Breaker, everybody. And anyway, we're out of time here today, but tonight, Dave and Garrett, I believe we're going to be talking a lot about the awards. We'll be talking about them more over the next week or so on Wrestling Observer Radio. And subscribe to WrestlingObserver.com. You can read the entire awards issue with tons of commentary on the winners and the history of the awards as well. It's a really fun read, WrestlingObserver.com. And we are out of here from lovely Maui, Hawaii. We'll talk to you after a while.